Okay, YouTube, this is Acid Roots. I've got a Seether album review for you. So this is the album Finding Beauty in Negative Spaces. Now the thing about Seether is they kind of balance post-grunge and alternative metal. Now the difference between post-grunge and alternative metal is post-grunge really has slow songs. It's kind of the main theme of post-grunge seems to be reflection and looking back, reminiscing, and kind of, being thought-provoking, whereas alternative metal, other type attitudes can come in. But if you're good enough, you can split right down the middle and see the types of songs that are in fact alternative metal and the differences that comes about. Now, I have a head start on alternative metal. I know a lot of you folks probably do also, but things like Limp Bizkit and Trapped and a couple other ones like Alien Ant Farm, they did alternative metal on the side. They'd have the metal song for the first single and then the alternative metal second single. Almost every band that was in nu metal did alternative metal on the side, and this was kind of where the greatest hits came about, like Trapped's Echo and there's various other songs that you can remember from back in those days. But my big thing about this release by Seether is it's got some recognizable songs, and it kind of reminds me of what life was like back in 2007 or 2008. Now this is not bad, but it's also funny to see how much times have changed and reflecting on what life was like just becoming 10 years ago. So that's something extra. So it may appear dated. I know I'm reviewing this as if it's brand new, but in a lot of ways it's good to get, this, my opinions I want to make vocal because I'm thinking my knowledge is improving. But thing is this album, the hits on it are soaked in alternative metal, but they also do the post-grunge thing, so you gotta be able to like both if you really want this album to resonate with you. And that's about the only problem. Like, to me, Fake It is almost like a metal song that could pass. That's kind of similar to Control by Puddle of Mud, and a couple other groups have done similarities to this. Stained was such another that did some of this, but obviously Seether has been around. They've been around since 2002, and Sean Morgan, the lead singer, has gotten various other hits. Sounds like anything you would have heard on post-grunge in the 2000s decade. I mean, his voice has similarities to a lot of these lead vocalists, and it gets to the point where you think, going from Blurry to Can You Take Me Higher to any of these various other songs that were on the air 10 years ago. Well, there were loads, and it's time to dig into these. So obviously, dealing with rock music on a more commercial appeal. The thing about it is obviously whether or not you like this sort of thing and it stands out to you, or you prefer the songs that are rougher and more metal sounding. I can't recall if this album went platinum, but it did do well on the rock charts. So we're going to talk about a few of these. Like Fake It was, like I was saying, that's like Control, and that has a real almost metal feel to it, but the Rise above it, or some that I think has the word Rise in the title. I didn't write it down because it's not one of my favorites, but that one was the second single, and it's an additional song to head to, depending upon what you like. And this band had some woes that happened around when their album came out, and so know that. The song Breakdown is the third single, and this is about late 2008. They dropped singles a year after it came out, and this one sounds really kind of post-grunge like, but I still appreciate the song. So it just sounds so murky. I mean, that's the thing about it. The murkiness to it is strange, and you know, I'm starting to like post-grunge somewhat, but when the message of the song, as I'm going to learn later, when it turns out to just be, you know, I've got to get on with my life and do the right thing, if that turns out to be the whole message of the song, it may not win as many points. But from the feel of the song that I hear right now, I do appreciate it. And it doesn't stand out as much. I mean, I'm sure a lot of rock fans have probably heard Fake It, but Breakdown is kind of a more personal song, and it just feels more like inward focused. So that, you know, there was a fourth single, which was the song, I think, Careless Whisper, which was a cover song, but I didn't enjoy that one either. So 2 out of 4 radio songs me liking does not exactly put me in a good place. So as much as I've talked about this album, it's actually not going to get a very high score. But really the whole thing for me is, I feel like, you know, the way that they dropped the radio songs on the project, I'm going to say that they didn't really have a true fourth single. And I think after Breakdown, the promotion of the album pretty much would have stopped if it had not been for that cover song. There just aren't songs besides maybe Like Suicide that probably could have made it on the air. But you know, the second radio song after Fake It, that one, well, yeah, I mean, these songs did chart, so all 3 of these charted pretty high. I mean, Seether's a band that is recognizable. It's not like just because I give this album a 5 that you're not going to know who they are or have heard them. But, I mean, this is the whole thing. So the 6 songs out of 14 that I liked, I'm just going to ignore the 2 cover songs, because really there was only 12 original songs on here. So I liked half the album. It gets a 5. And the 6 songs that you need to hear are Fake It, Breakdown, Like Suicide, Fallen, Eyes of the Devil, and Don't Believe. Now the only other song that's like Fake It is the song Fallen, but somehow it doesn't feel like it would have made it as a charting song, but it's still a good song. Breakdown is a great song, even though I said it's post-grunge, that doesn't change that it's good. Like Suicide's a great way to start the project, and that's another almost, I mean, I'm not quite at the point where I can identify post-grunge from alternative metal completely, but it's good for whatever it is. And Don't Believe is another one of the ones that I liked quite a bit. So, yeah. Social score, I will give a 7, because these songs did chart pretty high, and I think the 4th single actually charted pretty high also. So, 7. And can this record be topped? The answer is yes, it can. I would have preferred another song like Fake It and maybe another song like Breakdown to make this truly good. And the future, Seether dropped an album in 2014, somewhere around that time. So, but yeah, don't ignore this.